What if we told you that the wait is almost over? Bridgerton is coming back, and this time, it is bringing something so emotional, so dramatic, and so deeply romantic that fans are already losing their minds over it. Season 5 is not just another season. It is the season everyone has been begging for since the very beginning. Eloise Bridgerton, the one who always ran away from love, the one who laughed at romance and called it foolish, is about to fall so hard that there is no coming back. And Francesca, the quiet one, the one who already lost the love of her life, is about to find something so unexpected that it will completely change everything you thought you knew about her. Two sisters, two completely different love stories, one unforgettable season, and if the latest news is anything to go by, there is even more to this story than we ever imagined. Because the whispers are getting louder, and the rumors are getting wilder. People are saying that Eloise will soon be a mother. Yes, you read that right. So sit tight, because this is going to be one ride you do not want to miss. Let us start from the very beginning, because the news coming out about Bridgerton Season 5 is absolutely everything. Netflix has already confirmed that the Bridgerton family is not going anywhere anytime soon. Seasons 5 and 6 are both officially happening, and that alone is enough reason to celebrate. But what makes this even more exciting is that production for Season 5 has already started. Filming began in March 2026, and showrunner Jess Brownell has confirmed that the writing for Season 5 has completely wrapped. She said that the team is about to go into filming, and the energy behind the scenes is incredible. This is not just talk, this is real. The cameras are rolling and the story is already being brought to life as we speak. Now, if Season 5 follows the same kind of production timeline that the previous seasons followed, which means filming from March 2026 all the way through to around December 2000, then the math is actually very exciting. Because that would put the release of the very first episode of Bridgerton Season 5 sometime around July 2027. Just think about that for a moment. July 2027. It feels far, but when you hear everything that is being planned for this season, you will understand why it is worth every single second of the wait. Now let us get into the part that everyone is truly here for. Who is leading Season 5? Jess Brownell answered this question herself at the Season 4 launch back in January 2026. She confirmed that sisters Eloise and Francesca will be at the very center of Seasons 5 and 6. These two women who have always lived in the shadows of their siblings' romantic journeys are finally getting their time to shine. And the stories that are being built around them are not simple or predictable. They are complex, emotional, and full of the kind of tension that keeps you up at night wondering what is going to happen next. Eloise's story is coming first in Season 5, and it is going to be based on the fifth novel in Julia Quinn's beloved book series, which is called To Sir Philip with Love. Now, for those who have read the books, you already know how powerful this story is. And for those who have not, let us just say that this is not your typical love story. This is a story about two people who find each other through letters, through words, through a connection that builds slowly and quietly before it becomes something neither of them can ignore. In the world of Bridgerton, we are going to see Eloise and Philip Crane begin writing to each other after a very significant event changes both of their lives forever. And here is where the story gets really interesting, because the show has already made some very big changes from the original novel, and those changes are going to make Season 5 feel completely fresh, even for people who have read every single book. Marina Thompson, who was such a memorable and heartbreaking character back in Season 2, is going to play a very important role in setting this whole story in motion. In the novels, Marina passes away, and it is after her death that Eloise and Philip begin their correspondence. But in the Bridgerton television universe, Marina is still alive. She is living with Philip in a relationship that is described as non-romantic, a partnership built more out of circumstance than love. This one detail changes so much. It adds a layer of tension and complication to Eloise and Philip's story that the books simply do not have, because now Eloise is not just falling for a widower. She is potentially falling for a man who is still very much connected to someone else. Someone the audience already knows. Someone the audience already has feelings about. That is the kind of storytelling that Bridgerton does better than almost anyone else, taking something familiar and twisting it just enough to make it feel completely new. And then there is the question that has been setting the internet completely on fire. The rumor, the whisper, the piece of news that nobody was expecting. Eloise will soon be a mother. Now before you spiral, let us be clear that the details around this are still being kept very close to the chest. Nobody from the production has come out and confirmed every single detail of how this plays out on screen. But the buzz is real, and it is growing louder every single day. If this storyline does make it into Season 5 the way people are speculating, it would represent one of the most dramatic and emotional character shifts in the entire series. Eloise, who spent 4 seasons rejecting the very idea of marriage and motherhood, becoming a mother herself. The irony alone is enough to make your jaw drop. But more than the irony, think about what that means for her character. Think about the growth, the vulnerability, the completely new side of Eloise that audiences would get to see for the very first time. It would be bold, it would be unexpected, and it would be exactly the kind of move that makes Bridgerton the show that it is. Now let us talk about Francesca, because her story is just as powerful and in many ways even more emotionally heavy than what Eloise is going through. Francesca Bridgerton has always been one of the more quietly compelling characters in the show. She does not demand attention the way some of her siblings do. She does not fill every room with noise and energy. Instead, she draws you in slowly, and before you even realize it, you are completely invested in everything that happens to her. Season 4 gave us a glimpse into her world, and what we saw was both beautiful and absolutely heartbreaking. Francesca found love with John Sterling, and for a moment it felt like she had everything. But as anyone who has followed this story knows, happiness in Bridgerton never comes without a price. John Sterling is gone, and Francesca is now carrying the weight of that loss in a way that is going to define everything about her arc in Season 5 and beyond. The storyline being developed for Francesca is based on the 6th novel in the series, which is called When He Was Wicked, and it is widely considered to be one of the most emotionally complex and daring books that Julia Quinn ever wrote. This is not a light and breezy romance. This is a story about grief, about what it means to love someone so deeply that losing them feels like losing a part of yourself, and then about the terrifying and confusing experience of slowly, reluctantly, almost guiltily opening your heart again to someone new. In Francesca's case, that someone new is Michaela Sterling, the cousin of her late husband John. Now this is where the show has made one of its most talked about and most celebrated creative decisions. In the original novel, the character is Michael Sterling, a man. But the Bridgerton television series has reimagined this character as Michaela Sterling, a woman. And this change is not just a surface-level adjustment. It fundamentally transforms the emotional texture of Francesca's journey, because now her path back to love is not just about grief and healing, it is also about self-discovery, about understanding herself in a way she never had the chance to before, about finding love in a form she never expected and never even knew she was capable of. The complexity of this storyline is enormous, and the fact that the writers have chosen to go in this direction says everything about the kind of show Bridgerton has become. It is not afraid to take risks. It is not afraid to challenge expectations. And it is absolutely not afraid to give its characters stories that feel genuinely meaningful and real. What makes Francesca and Michaela's dynamic so compelling is the connection to John. Michaela knew him, loved him in her own way as family. And now these two women, who are both carrying the memory of the same person, are going to find themselves drawn to each other in ways that neither of them fully understands at first. The guilt of that attraction, the confusion of it, the way it slowly becomes impossible to deny no matter how hard both of them try. That is the kind of storytelling that stays with you long after the credits roll. And the performance that Hannah Dodd has already given as Francesca in previous seasons suggests that she is more than ready to carry the full emotional weight of everything this story demands. She brings a stillness to Francesca that is incredibly rare and incredibly powerful, and Season 5 is going to give her the opportunity to show the full range of what she is capable of. Now let us talk about the cast, because there are some very exciting developments on that front as well. The core Bridgerton family is of course returning, and seeing them all back together on screen is always one of the great joys of a new season. But Season 5 is also going to bring back some faces that fans have not seen in a while, and that alone is enough to send excitement levels through the roof. Marina Thompson is coming back, and her return is going to be deeply significant to the story being told this season. When we last saw Marina, she was in a place of quiet resignation, living a life that was not quite what she had dreamed of, but finding a kind of peace within it. Seeing where she is now, and how her presence intersects with Eloise's story, is going to be one of the most emotionally charged elements of the entire season. And then there is Philip Crane, who is going to be a fully realized central character for the first time. We have seen glimpses of him before, but Season 5 is where audiences are truly going to get to know him, who he is beneath the surface, what he wants, what he is afraid of, and why, despite everything, he might just be exactly what Eloise needs, even if neither of them would ever admit it out loud. So let us now bring everything together and really think about what Season 5 of Bridgerton is shaping up to be. Because when you look at all of the pieces, the storylines, the characters, the creative decisions, the production timeline, the buzz that is already building around it, what you see is a season that has the potential to be the most ambitious and emotionally resonant chapter in the entire series. This is not just 2 more love stories being added to the collection. This is the show deliberately choosing its 2 most unconventional characters, the ones who pushed back hardest against the world of romance and marriage, and asking what happens when love finally catches up with what happens when the woman who laughed at love finds herself completely undone by it? What happens when the woman who already gave her whole heart away discovers that her heart somehow still has more to give? These are not small questions. These are the kinds of questions that great storytelling is built around. And Bridgerton Season 5 appears to be building around them in a very serious and very intentional way. The trailer that has been generating so much conversation online has only added fuel to the fire. Even the smallest details, the costumes, the settings, the expressions on the faces of the characters in those brief glimpses, have been enough to send the fan community into an absolute frenzy of speculation and excitement. Every frame is being analyzed. Every second is being discussed. And the conclusion that most people are arriving at is the same. 1. This season is going to hit different. Now about that Eloise becoming a mother rumor, because we cannot leave that alone. The speculation around this storyline has been building steadily, and it connects in a very interesting way to Sir Philip with Love source material. In the novel, Philip already has children when Eloise enters his life. Twin children named Oliver and Amanda, who are described as wild and difficult, and desperately in need of a mother's love. In the books, Eloise essentially steps into a maternal role for these children, as her relationship with Philip develops. So when people talk about Eloise becoming a mother in Season 5, it may not be referring to a pregnancy storyline at all. It may be referring to the moment when Eloise, who never wanted any of this, finds herself suddenly responsible for 2 small children who need her, and the way that responsibility changes her, the way it opens her up, the way it forces her to confront every assumption she ever made about what her life was supposed to look like. If the show handles this the way it handled the source material in previous seasons, which is to say with enormous creativity and emotional intelligence, then this could be one of the most powerful and unexpected character developments in the whole series. Think about Eloise holding a child. Think about her reading to them, protecting them, advocating for them. Think about the look on her face the first time she realizes she loves them. That is television gold, and Bridgerton knows it. And of course, none of this happens in isolation. All of these storylines are taking place within the larger Bridgerton world, which means Queen Charlotte is watching, Lady Danbury is scheming, and the Ton is gossiping. The social pressures and expectations that have always been such a central part of what makes this show so compelling are not going anywhere. If anything, with Eloise as a central character, those pressures are going to feel more suffocating than ever, because Eloise has always been the one who refused to bow to them. Watching her navigate a world that wants to put her in a box while simultaneously falling in love and potentially stepping into motherhood is going to be absolutely electric. The bottom line is this: Bridgerton Season 5 is coming. It is real, it is in production, and everything we know about it suggests that it is going to be something truly special. July 2027 cannot come fast enough. And until then, every new piece of information, every rumor, every trailer, every behind-the-scenes photo is going to keep the conversation alive and the excitement burning. Because that is what Bridgerton does. It makes you fall in love with love all over again, and season 5 is about to do it better than ever.